My world fractured over a dinner I never saw coming. The word surprise had a new definition that evening, one that included betrayal served with wine and silence. A celebration turned reveal, and seated across from me was not just my wife, but a smug stranger she now called her partner. I remember blinking twice, wondering if this was some elaborate prank. But no, it was just reality, cruel and well-dressed, sitting across the table smirking. "Charming," I said, cool as ice melting on marble. I paid my portion, drinks, appetizer, and left. That walkout was the start of my new life. The next morning, I was filing papers. Divorce. Irreconcilable differences. Clean. Quick. Brutal. Blocked her number. Blocked her sister. The phones didn't stop buzzing for 2 days, but I didn't look back. I'm 42. Male. Still grasping the audacity of what she did. 15 years of marriage. 15. And Victoria, 40F, thought that the right way to transition to her next phase was a dinner ambush with a man named Austin. We went to a classy spot, the kind you reserve for milestones. I'd even worn cologne. She was glowing. I thought it was for us. We sat, ordered drinks, chatted lightly. Then she said the restaurant wasn't the only surprise. She waved toward the entrance. In walked Austin with that smug, practiced confidence. The kind of man who thinks he's doing you a favor just by showing up. Victoria introduced him. I looked at him, then at her. She was watching me like I was the one who needed to prove something. "Nathan, this is Austin, my new partner." She said it like she was giving me a gift. A moment passed. Just one. But it felt like the whole restaurant stopped breathing. I took a sip of water. "Charming," I said, then signaled for the check. I paid my part in cash, placed my napkin on the table, and left. I didn't shout. I didn't cry. I didn't even ask questions. I just walked away from 15 years and a dinner I'll never forget. The next day, I was at Miss Kelly's office by 9 a.m. Papers were drawn, signed, and submitted by noon. Cause listed, adultery. I like clarity. Around 1 p.m., the texts began. First Victoria. Then Janice, her sister. Long-winded voicemails. Apologies mixed with accusations. I didn't listen to any of them. I just blocked the numbers. What was there to say? She showed me who she was at that table, in that moment. The following days were quieter, at least in terms of calls. I moved into my buddy Jesse's place. His couch is stiff, but the silence? It's golden. Almost too loud, but also freeing. I feel calm. Maybe numb. Maybe just resolved. The shock sits beneath the surface like a bruise, but I'm functioning. Step by step. Then came the emails. Since I blocked her number, Victoria escalated. Started sending emails, long ones. Rambling justifications. "You overreacted. We should have talked it through." Talk what through? The man she brought to dinner? The one she called her new partner without a hint of shame? She had the nerve to say I wasn't mature enough to handle a modern arrangement. A modern arrangement? No thanks. Then came Janice again. She found my work email. Sent a novel about how Victoria is a sensitive soul, going through a lot, and that I clearly never understood her emotional needs. The usual script. Blame the victim. Make me the villain for not accepting public humiliation as part of a progressive relationship model. Apparently, I was cold and distant. That's why Victoria sought comfort elsewhere. Not because she's selfish or cruel, but because I failed to fulfill her fantasy of a perfect, understanding doormat. Right. Miss Kelly sent a formal cease and desist to Janice. That shut her up for now. Victoria was officially served. She tried showing up at Jesse's once. He answered the door, told her to contact my lawyer. She caused a scene. Claimed I was hiding. Jesse's reply? He's not hiding. He's moving on. You should try it. Slammed the door. Gotta love Jesse. Last night, I had a moment. Just a flicker. Lying in the dark, staring at the ceiling, wondering, did I miss signs? 15 years is a long time. Long enough to build a life, long enough to lie expertly. You think you know someone. Then one night, you find yourself splitting a check while they introduce their replacement. But that moment passed. It wasn't grief for her. It was grief for the time. for memories that now feel poisoned. The vacations, the inside jokes, even our wedding. All of it has a bitter aftertaste now. But the bitterness is fading. What's left is resolve. She made a choice. She gets to live with it. I'll make sure the consequences are fair. Austin hasn't contacted me directly. I doubt he will. He seems like the type to let Victoria fight his battles until it becomes inconvenient. Then he'll ghost her too. Just a prediction. Things are escalating now, just like I thought they would. Victoria and her cheerleading squad, mostly Janice, have shifted from denial to outrage. Classic maneuver. When guilt doesn't work, they move to anger. Miss Kelly sent the initial settlement proposal. Nothing unfair. Just standard. No kids. Assets to be split as per our jurisdiction. No surprises. No drama, at least on paper. But Victoria doesn't want a clean break. She wants sympathy. She wants control. And most of all, she wants to rewrite the story where she's the misunderstood heroine and I'm the bitter, backward ex who couldn't handle her growth. Not gonna happen. She doesn't get to set the narrative. She doesn't get to redefine betrayal as bravery. She doesn't get to burn down a marriage and ask for applause. I've got everything documented. Every email, every message forwarded to Miss Kelly. We're preparing for the worst, but hoping for cooperation. I'm not expecting it. The entitlement is deep. Delusional, even. They truly believe they're operating on some higher moral plane, like honesty means dropping a bomb at dinner and calling it progress. Like kindness means not reacting to betrayal, just nodding politely as your life unravels across a tablecloth. But I'm not playing their game. I'm staying quiet. Focused. Practical. No social media rants. No calls. Just facts, filed in triplicate. Jesse says I'm handling it well. I don't know what that means anymore. Some days I feel like a robot. Other days I feel like a man who dodged a bullet, one dressed in silk and wearing a smirk. Either way, the process is moving forward. The story is writing itself now. I'm just turning the pages. And it all began with dinner. A dinner I'll never forget, followed by silence that says more than words ever could. All because of trust broken in the most performative, gutless way imaginable. Now, all that's left is to finalize everything. Make it official. Move on. Rebuild. My jurisdiction has its flaws, but when it comes to closure, it does the job. And I'll be damned if I let them rewrite what happened. Not in the court, not in gossip, not even in their private little accounts. Accounts. Were it not for our prior decision to keep finances separate, things could have been far messier. In hindsight, that boundary was a blessing. Asset division, in theory, should have been a walk in the park. Our biggest shared investment? The house. I proposed 2 reasonable options. We sell and split the equity or she buys me out. Simple. Logical. Fair. Apparently not, according to Victoria and Austin. They found this suggestion offensive, even outrageous. Her lawyer, a textbook aggressive type, likely charging top dollar, responded with a counter-proposal straight out of a delusion. Victoria now wanted the entire house. Her justification? Emotional trauma caused by my abandonment, following what she described as her transparent effort to be honest about Austin. The irony nearly gave me whiplash. Oh, and she wanted spousal support. $3,000 a month. Her rationale? That she sacrificed her earning potential for our marriage. Which was news to me. She chose part-time work. I encouraged every half-baked idea she had: freelance design, candle making, yoga workshops, you name it. None stuck. I covered bills, vacations, and supported her whims for years. But now she was financially wounded, and this woman has a new man, her supposed future. Austin. Speaking of, he finally showed his face again, in classic form. When Victoria got served the divorce papers at their shared apartment, Austin answered the door, arm around her like he was her savior. The process server later said he smirked and told him to get lost. So mature. Then Victoria found another one of my email addresses. In yet another message, she wrote that Austin thought my offer was insulting. That it showed how little I valued her. As if Austin had any place in evaluating our 15-year marriage. Charming. Truly. Meanwhile, Janice, her sister, was busy setting social media on fire. Vague posts supporting my sister through her struggle with a narcissist, surviving selfish men. No names, but plenty of implication. A few mutual friends reached out, confused. I told them the truth, briefly. Victoria ended our marriage unexpectedly. We are divorcing. All communication is now through lawyers. I refuse to play games. No drama. No reaction. But behind the scenes, things were heating up. Victoria, now leaning hard into victim mode, accused me of being financially abusive. That's right. Financially controlling. Her justification for wanting the house and spousal support. And the antique. She now claimed that an heirloom from my grandmother, a 19th century armoire, clearly designated as mine in her will, was a gift to the marriage and thus joint property. Miss Kelly, ever the pro, sighed and pulled out documentation. Standard tactic, she said. We are more than covered. But what enraged me deep down was the gall. She sat across from me at that dinner, introduced her new lover, and now she's claiming I caused her distress? Unreal. I stuck to my strategy. Zero direct contact. Everything went to Miss Kelly. Every email, every new demand, each baseless accusation. And Miss Kelly delivered. I stayed calm. Focused. Beneath that calm, a slow-burning fury. Not the explosive kind. The cold, surgical kind. The kind that prepares, documents, waits. She wanted a battle, fine. But it would be a battle of facts, not emotional fiction. Jesse, ever resourceful, dug up something through a friend of a friend, Austin's glittering resume of failure. Turns out, he's got a trail of failed ventures and a knack for charming investors out of their wallets. No stable income. No assets. No surprise. Then came mediation. Miss Kelly scheduled a session after Victoria's demands became completely unhinged. Both parties were present, Victoria, Austin, Janice, their lawyer, facing off with me and Miss Kelly. Austin arrived like he owned the building, probably wearing a borrowed watch. Victoria wore a fragile smile. Janice looked ready for war. They began with their demands. House, support, antique, compensation for supposed distress. Her lawyer painted her as a woman emotionally shattered, financially endangered, betrayed. Janice nodded theatrically. Austin played the supportive partner, gently squeezing Victoria's hand. The performance was thick enough to cut with a butter knife. Victoria accused me of hiding assets. Claimed I had a secret fund used for personal luxuries while she struggled to afford essentials. Pure fiction. But they were clearly doubling down on the financial tyrant narrative. Then it was Miss Kelly's turn. She opened with grace. Calm. Direct. Every claim, she dismantled like a seasoned surgeon. No theatrics. Just evidence. First, the emotional betrayal. She presented a sworn affidavit from the waiter at our anniversary dinner, confirming Victoria introduced Austin as her new partner that night. Then came the affair timeline. Miss Kelly stated I had engaged a private investigator the day after that dinner. The final report? In her hands. Date-stamped photos. Restaurant reservations. Hotel receipts. All showing Victoria and Austin together weeks, even months before that dinner. 6 months minimum. This was no spur-of-the-heart revelation. This was a calculated ambush. Victoria's face drained of color. Austin's smirk cracked. Next up, financial control. Miss Kelly brought years of bank statements, receipts, and documents proving my ongoing support of Victoria's lifestyle and business attempts. She showed tuition payments, supply orders, travel expenses for seminars, all funded by me. Sacrifice career? Hardly. Miss Kelly then addressed the antique claim. Produced a notarized copy of my grandmother's will explicitly stating the item was mine alone. Victoria's lawyer barely glanced at it before folding it closed. The room shifted. The energy changed. Janice remained stone-faced, but the air had thinned. Austin leaned back, suddenly quiet. Victoria looked like she might cry, but for once, it felt real. It was a strange moment, watching the facade crack. We ended the session without resolution, but it was clear they were not winning this. Miss Kelly had come prepared. I was protected. I left the building feeling not happy exactly, but vindicated. Since then, things have quieted slightly. Fewer emails, fewer dramatics. I suspect they're regrouping. Austin may soon realize Victoria is no golden goose. And when he does, I wonder how long he'll stay. I still sleep on Jesse's couch. Still drink too much coffee. But the weight is lighter. The fog is clearing. I'm not angry anymore, not really. I'm tired. And ready to close this chapter with dignity. Victoria made her decisions. I made mine. And when the dust settles, I'll still have my name, my integrity, and everything I rightfully took. Even down payments for cars she wanted were covered. Miss Kelly also had archived emails where Victoria explicitly said she chose to work part-time for personal freedom. That spousal support claim? Obliterated. Third issue, the antique. The will was unambiguous. My grandmother left it solely to me. End of discussion. Fourth, the house. Miss Kelly repeated our fair offer, buyout or sale with split equity. Before Victoria's lawyer could counter, Miss Kelly pivoted to spending. While I had kept our accounts separate, Victoria had been a supplementary cardholder on one of my credit cards. The agreement? Household use only or emergencies. Miss Kelly then dropped the hammer, itemized credit statements from the past year. 6 months prior, like clockwork with the PI's affair timeline, we saw a pattern shift. Over $5,000 in charges, luxury dinners for 2, hotels, boutique men's clothing, weekend trips. All at venues I never once visited with Victoria. All matching the PI's documentation of her trysts with Austin. The message was clear, she used marital credit to fund her affair. Fifth, Austin himself. Miss Kelly had pulled his records. Outstanding debts. 2 county court judgments. Business failures with investor losses. She included a letter from a former business partner describing Austin's charm, manipulation, and trail of financial wreckage. Austin turned purple. Victoria looked stunned. Janice gasped audibly. The mediator glanced between them, expression unreadable. Victoria's lawyer looked like he'd prefer vanishing through the floor. He quickly requested a recess. Post-break, everything changed. The iron confidence? Gone. They agreed to sell the house and split the proceeds. No spousal support. The antique, mine, undisputed. The $5,000 Victoria charged during the affair? Classified as marital debt, deducted directly from her share of the equity. Victoria didn't speak. She just stared at Austin, whose attention was suddenly elsewhere. Janice? For once, silent and pale. This wasn't revenge, it was reality. She made choices. She lied. She tried to cheat the system. And she failed. The consequences weren't cruel, they were correct. Best part? The mediator formally noted her attempts to mislead the process. Not perjury yet, but should she push her luck again, it'll be on record. I walked out lighter than I'd felt in months. Justice isn't always thunder. Sometimes it's the soft, satisfying click of evidence sliding perfectly into place. Final update. Hey everyone, it's been 6 months since that incredibly satisfying mediation. Divorce finalized 2 months ago. The terms we settled on held. The house sold at a decent price, even in this shaky market. After adjusting for Victoria's credit misuse, we split the equity. I recovered my grandmother's antique without a hitch. So, where are Victoria, Austin, and Janice now? Victoria, from what I hear through the grapevine, since I maintain total radio silence, isn't thriving. She and Austin had banked on more money from the house, but with legal fees and credit reimbursements, it wasn't the payday they expected. Austin? Gone. Apparently bounced not long after it became clear she wasn't going to bankroll his next venture. Last I heard, he was exploring new opportunities, i.e., looking for another mark. Victoria's living in a small rental now, scraping by on part-time yoga income. She's finally meeting the real world, one overdue bill at a time. No self-reflection, though. Mutual friends say she's still bitter. Still blaming me. Still thinks I should have handled things differently and been kinder. Entitlement, as it turns out, dies slowly. Janice? Remarkably quiet online. 0 vague posts. Nothing about narcissists or emotional support. My guess? Watching her sister's lies unravel under pressure might have shocked her into a reality check. Or maybe she's just onto new drama. As for me, I'm good. Actually, better than good. The first few weeks post-divorce were odd. Like learning to walk on new legs. But I settled in. My new place is smaller, but mine. Quiet. Peaceful. I reconnected with old friends. Picked up old hobbies I'd shelved. Jessie, as ever, remains a steadfast presence. I had a moment of nostalgia not long ago. Packing boxes, I found an old photo, Victoria and me, early years. We looked so happy. Young. For a brief second, I felt a twinge, not regret for the divorce, but sadness for time lost. For what might have been, had she been someone else entirely. But it passed. That calm I felt the night of the anniversary dinner? It's still with me. But now it's not numbness. It's peace. Acceptance. I've learned a lot. About myself. About resilience. About the value of documentation and a truly excellent lawyer. No relationships yet, and that's okay. No rush. I'm enjoying the freedom. The quiet. The clean slate. Maybe someday. But right now, I'm content. Thanks again to everyone who followed this insane journey. Your messages, support, and solidarity meant more than I can express. To anyone going through a similar situation, keep your head. Stay factual. Don't let them drag you into their storm. Justice is worth it, even when it's quiet. Peace out.